Welcome to the Breakfast Show on Faith FM with Skafy and Lindsay. This is the best place to start your day with positive and uplifting thoughts.
You're listening all across Australia on 87.6, 87.8 or 88 depending on where you are, or you can listen to us through our Faith FM app wherever you are in the world.
And today is Wednesday, the 18th day of March 2026. I am in the studio today with Lindsay and producer Shells. Good morning to you ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's start with our exchange of gifts / gratitudes, shall we?
Let's.
My gratitude today is for a plant.
A plant?
Yes. More than a plant, it's also a herb. And more than a herb, it's a holy herb.
Is it holy basil?
Holy basil. Have you heard about it before?
I like eating it.
Holy basils?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Have you heard about holy basils before?
I have heard the name.
Okay, look, I had no idea that it even existed until this morning, okay?
Do you know why it's holy?
Why?
I think it was named after like a saint from 1,000 years ago or something.
Yeah, no, I think it's very sacred in Hindu traditions.
But there was a Saint Basil or something.
Oh, okay. I do not know about that, but this one I know that some of these varieties they call it Krishna basil and all they give them like Hindu gods' names.
Interesting.
It's just a herb, but it's actually supposed to be good for you. It's supposed to be boosting your immune system and
God made herbs for the service of man.
That's right. Help with stress relief. The only thing that I care is that I'm drinking it right now. Let me have a taste.
Oh man.
It tastes very nice. It tastes like mint, really.
Okay,
but,
basil and mint are similar.
Yeah, a little bit sweeter than mint.
Oh.
So, yeah, I'm just grateful for that I found out a new flavor, a new tea, new herbal tea.
Oh, so you've made it a tea now?
Yeah.
Did you put honey or sugar in there?
No.
You
Just
water and leaves.
Yeah, that's what how I like it.
Alrighty. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Same thing. I do like to drink from time to time decaf coffee. I can't do caffeine, no.
Yeah.
Unless it's some kind of medical emergency. Other than that, if I drink anything of caffeine, I won't sleep for like 3 or 4 days.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I just like, just straight, no sugar, no anything. Okay. Just, I like the bitter taste. In this case, this tea is not bitter at all. What about you, Lindsay? What are you grateful for?
Look, I know I've said something similar to this in the past, but I'm very grateful once again for the food bank ministry that I have stumbled across recently. A friend of mine asked me a couple of days ago, can you go and pick up some groceries for me at the food bank? And I was like, yeah, I'm planning to go there and pick some stuff up for myself. I spent $20 on a box of fruit and veggies as well as non-perishable items. She spent $10 on just the fruit and veggies.
You're increasing, because the other time that I talked to you, you spent like $2.
Yeah,
like
look,
10
that was
times.
just from the back of somebody's house. Who's associated with the ministry, but this time I actually went to the food bank itself.
Okay.
And yeah, look, I don't need to spend more than $2 because my house is swamped with all this food and I've been giving it away to my neighbors. And I told my friend, please come pick it up tonight. Don't wait till tomorrow because I have nowhere in the fridge or the freezer to put it. My freezer is just like exploded. Okay. And so I gave her half of my things in the non-perishable box as well. And I was like, please take it away.
Looks like you're overflowing.
I am overflowing. I'm ready for when the war hits.
What about you, Chelsea? Are you stockpiling and hoarding food as well?
I have slowly been getting extra toilet paper.
Yeah,
I don't
we found out who was responsible for the toilet paper crisis right here right now.
I learned from last time because I didn't get enough. So I'm like, just going to get a little bit more every now and then.
All right.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
Our first quiz question for the day. Is everybody awake and ready?
I'm awake and ready.
Need...
Yes. Thank you. That's so good. I love having you around.
I just love pushing buttons.
Yeah, you do.
Okay. How long had Lazarus been dead when Jesus raised him back to life? Nice and easy one to start the morning. Or not so easy because you both got it wrong. But if you're both wrong, I can't help but think, yeah, guys, how did you get it wrong the first time?
I was like, this is probably wrong, but I'm going to write it in. It's right.
You both did the same answers. You guys can take...
Yes.
Skafy, did you second guess yourself as you were writing the first one?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't believe Actually, I have to admit, I don't know if I would have got it right. All right, so you guys can text us in 0491064669. How long had Lazarus been dead when Jesus raised him back to life? 0491064669. Let's see if you all make the same mistake that Joseph and Lindsay did.
Okay, I just want to read here good old Davo's message. Davo from Balga, Western Australia, sent us a message and saying that he is grateful for Caro instead of decaf coffee. Do you know what Caro is?
Yeah, well, it's like a...
I think it's roasted dandelion drink.
Well, he says it's made from a blend of roasted barley, malted barley, chicory, and rye. It's frequently consumed as a coffee-like beverage that provides a comforting, toasty, and slightly malty flavor without the stimulation.
I like
of
Caro
caffeine.
as well. I like Caro as well. I know a Caro, and I like it as well.
I'm not really into it.
I do prefer decaf coffee.
And
again, they have decaf coffees that are not chemically infested with stuff. It's just like this day and age, they can decaf coffee with like very clean methods, just like water, reverse osmosis, and basically they maintain the plant properties intact. They only take away the caffeine, and then these people ended up selling the caffeine to the medical industry. Or something.
Okay. Interesting. That's too much science for me to like wrap my head around.
Okay.
But I really like the dandelion chai tea that I have in my cupboard. So the other day when it was really cold, I was like, oh, I have to get a cup of tea into me. What am I going to drink? And I looked in my
dandelion
cupboard.
chai is nice.
Yeah, dandy chai. It's just full of all those yummy spices and dandelion, which is so good for your liver health as well.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Do you know why in some countries in the world it's called tea and in other countries it's called chai?
It's literally the same word, just a different thing.
Well, it depends on historically where these countries were getting their teas from. Mm-hmm. If they are getting teas from
India,
India, I think they call chai.
Oh, okay.
And if it's from China, it's called tea.
Oh, wow. Okay. Because I know, like, I've told people before, my mum's side is Serbian. They just call tea chai.
Yeah, in Portuguese, it's chai as well. So it really depends on, where these countries were historically getting their ties, their tea supplies from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I've just noticed we've got some answers for the quiz question coming in the chat, and they're getting the same problem that we had.
What problem?
The first
really?
answer we gave is the same one that's coming through. There's some people giving the correct answer. That's good.
Okay.
All right. It's a very easily confused answer, that one. So, shall we jump into Genesis?
No.
Oh, not Genesis.
We're not
Sorry,
jumping
we're
into
in
Genesis
First
today.
Kings now.
We are in First Kings now for a few days now.
Oh, that's correct.
Sorry, Lindsay was just sleeping in a cryogenic chamber.
Whatever.
And she had just been thawed. And welcome to 2026, Lindsay.
Is it 2026 already?
Yes.
Oh, dear.
So when did you go to sleep? Like 2020? Let me tell you, a few things happened between then and now. You will not believe what has happened in 2020.
Believe. Oh dear! Imagine.
Imagine how would you explain the world today to a person that went to sleep in 2019 or 2018 and just woke up.
Toilet paper will be a hot topic.
All right, let's go to 1 Kings chapter 17. We are reading the story of the prophet Elijah when he was meeting this lady, this widow from Zarephath. Yep. So let's go in chapter, let's read from verse 10.
Verse 10?
Yeah.
Okay. So, he arose and went to Zarephath, and when he came to the gate of the city, indeed a widow was there gathering sticks. And he called to her and said, please bring me a little water in a cup that I may drink. And she was going to get it. And, as she was going to get it, he called to her and said, please bring me a morsel of bread in your hand. So she said, as the Lord your God lives, I do not have bread, only a handful of flour in a bin and a little oil in a jar. And see, I am gathering a couple of sticks that I may go in and prepare it for myself and my son, that we may eat it and die. And Elijah said to her, do not fear. Go and do as you have said, but make me a small cake from it first and bring it to me. and afterward make some for yourself and for your son.
Okay, just pause here.
Let's pause there.
So, look, just a quick context, just in case someone is just turning in the radio to our station for the first time. We are studying the story of Elijah. Elijah came out in a period where the king of Israel was a man named Ahab, and he has been the wickedest king to date
He was
so
a very,
far.
very, very bad boy.
Bad boy, and look, he was the one he was in Israel, and he was openly and unashamedly introducing and promoting and even paying with taxpayers' money Baal worship.
Yeah.
Now, Baal worship, for those who are not super familiar with Baal, is a kind of worship that still goes on to this day. This is the kind of worship that the secret, elites worship.
true.
Because Baal worship ultimately involves a few things. Number one, Baal was the god of, clouds and rain. And clouds and rain in ancient times means crops. Crops mean wealth.
Yeah,
So today we still have a lot of people worshiping wealth.
that's true.
And an integral part of Baal worship had to do with some very, how can I say?
Immoral practices.
Immoral sexual practices.
Yeah, because they actually considered the rain to be the seed of the god coming down from heaven to the earth to
Yes.
fertilize the land to
Yeah.
bring forth crops.
So it often included what they called cultic prostitution.
Yeah.
And people that were Baal worshippers were involved in that. And you see the elements of that in these secret societies, even like in these like Epstein files things
Yeah.
and so on.
Oh,
This is the kinds of stuff
definitely.
that they were involved in. So that kind of level, it's basically Satan worship, but Satan
Dressed up as a
presenting
different guy.
Baal, or if it's
Yeah.
if it's not Satan directly, maybe one of his powerful demons doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very interesting that that moves on. Actually, the very I would say something that maybe people don't know about it, but basically when pornography was invented and when people consume that kind of material, this is basically what taking part of a Baal worship was like.
Okay.
To a great degree.
Yep.
So it's interesting how this is still so prevalent in our days, in our lives, and a lot of Christians are unaware of that. That this is so there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
That is the reality. And if Satan can get you to worship him in one way or the other,
Yeah.
he will. If you can degrade the God likeness in you in one way or the other, he will. Thank Jesus that he gives us power to break free from that and live a different life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in that context, Elijah was called to be a prophet. Now, there's some debate if Elijah was an Israelite or if he was not an Israelite.
It was a Tishbite.
He was a Tishbite. It was like in a very remote kind of a desertic area in
Gilead.
Yes, in Gilead. And he is called to be one of the settlers that settled in Gilead, and some people point at that saying, maybe he was a foreigner that settled in Gilead.
Oh.
We don't know.
I've never heard of that. I just assumed he was Israelite this whole time.
Yeah. So there is that debate. So we don't know. But what we do know is that God called Elijah to challenge Ahab directly. And he says to Ahab, by the word of the Lord, there is not going to be one single drop of rain. Okay, so you were worshiping the rain god? Well, how about that? The rain god is not powerful enough not even to make one drop of rain fall from the sky if God does not permit to do so. Because ultimately, who gives the rain is not Baal. This is a scam. Rain comes from Yahweh.
Yeah.
And I'm going to prove that to you because I'm telling you, Yahweh is going to turn off the tap.
Yeah.
So that was it. And now we're looking at the story of Elijah. He started by being provided for by God in the wilderness. And now he is moving on to a city that's Sidon, a city that was like maybe the epicenter of Baal worship at the time. And right there was a lady that was actually faithful to the God of heaven. And that's what the story is picking up here. So with that big introduction, Elijah makes her this request and says, hey, can you please give me a morsel of bread? And there's one word here that I think is the most important word of all that we have read in that story so far. and it's the word first.
Yes. I picked up on that
Do
as
you
well.
pick that up? Okay, so tell me about what you picked up, because she says, look, I don't have any bread. I just have like a handful of flour, and that was it. You know, we're just going to eat this and die because like I have no hope.
Yeah.
I have nowhere to find more flour or oil. Nobody has it. We're just going to die. And Elijah says, okay, you can go and do it. But before you serve yourself, before you serve your son, make sure that you separate apart from me first.
Yes.
So why did that
He
grab
doesn't.
your attention?
He doesn't just say, "Make it for me first." Where are we? He says,
Verse
"Make
13.
Make me a small cake from it first, and bring it to me. And afterward, make some for yourself and your son." He's really clarifying. Do this for me first, and after you brought it to me, then
Yeah.
make the rest for you and your son.
Yes.
Like very much make it distinct at
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why did that? Why was that something that your brain connected with?
Okay, so he represents God. He's like the ambassador for God in this situation,
Okay.
right? He's the man of God, the prophet. She recognizes that as well. And I guess he's wanting to test her faith, or to help her to distinguish between like offering to God or the representative of God in a sense of first fruit, or in a sense of honoring or placing God in a higher position than maybe as a last whatever is left over kind of thing. Like I'm struggling to express myself here. Can you help me out here?
I can.
Yeah.
All right. Look, I think what you're in the right direction.
Yeah.
He's a representative of God.
Yeah.
I think it's fascinating that let's just take one step back here. Do you think that this lady was praying to God prior to all of this?
Look, I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's possible.
I mean, it could have happened if she's calling on his name, like we
I think it's
discussed
possible.
yesterday.
I don't think that God was going to send Elijah half a world, distance, from where he was into this lady. It was very far away, for just a random lady. I think that God knew the heart of that lady, and I think that that lady was, maybe she was praying to God. Said, God, can you save us? Can you do something? Maybe she was losing hope by then, but I think that God was actually answering her prayers. And what drew my attention to me in that story when Elijah says, "Give me first," I think this is a pattern of faith.
Yep.
He's saying to the lady, look, serve God first.
Yeah.
Give it to God first, because she was already afraid that she was going to barely have left for herself and her son. Now she's going to have even less.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if she trusts in God, she's going to do what God says to her.
Yeah.
So the first thing is, when we put God first, this is an acknowledgement of faith in God. And this, for example, I think applies across the board, particularly in financial means. For example, when we are going through a situation of crisis, yesterday, a tradie came to my home to do some
How did
roof
that go?
works for me. It went great.
Okay, awesome.
But I was asking him about, diesel prices and everything. And he was like really distressed. And he's kind of saying, look, at some point it's not going to be even worthy for me to leave my home to work, because I'm spending basically everything that I'm making a day in diesel.
Yeah.
And a lot of Australians are facing that pressure now. And during that time, we can ask, where's God? But God is right where he always has been. And God, through his word, is telling us the same thing that he's telling the widow of Zarephath, which is, give it to me first and see what happens. Return your tithe to me first and see what happens. Plan your life around me first, around my needs first, and see what happens. This is how you communicate faith.
Yeah.
This is how you say, look, this is the same faith that the widow of two mites also showed in the story of Jesus. This widow, she had nothing to live on. She gave like 2 mites, 2 small little coins, and God says she gave more than anyone else. She was basically saying to God, God, here's all my sustenance, everything that I have. I'm just trusting in you. And that's how faith works. I actually I'm going to make an application for that because some people ask the age-old question. Skafy, when I return my tithes to God, should I do so from my gross wages or from my net income? From after tax or before tax?
Right.
And I think that story, for many, many years, I gave one answer. And then after I read that story and I learned about that story,
Okay.
I changed my answer to that question.
All right. I'm curious to hear your response
Yeah,
there.
I'm going to let you know. But the important point is trusting God. Put God first. When we put God and his kingdom first, all other things will be added to us.
Yeah.
That is the essence of faith.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
And we are now going to get the answer to the quiz question. So please help us, producer Shell. How many days did Lazarus spend in that tomb?
Yeah, so it was 4. And I think David made a good point. With this resurrection, it was a part of the process, I'm just trying to think how to say it correctly, is the fact that it was like he in the Jewish terms, it was 3 days for them to recognize that.
A body was truly dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard about that before.
Yeah.
I don't
And
know where that
so-
comes from, but.
What's the actual answer?
So the actual answer was 4 days.
4 days.
So
Yeah,
he-
beyond any reasonable
Yeah.
doubt.
He was like definitely not alive.
Yeah.
So this was an absolute resurrection.
Yeah, I've heard this being said before. There, some ancient peoples, they believe that, look,
Yeah.
maybe there's a very slight chance for you to come back alive after 3 days because perhaps you're just in a bit of a coma or some kind of.
Yeah.
I really don't really know if that was the actual thing, but I have seen this explanation being presented a few times. Anyway,
Whether it's like scientifically true or not, it was probably something that was at least believed by the people
potentially,
at that time.
yes.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the
It
primary
does say
sources for
something
that.
in the Bible. Let me see if I can find the passage.
I think it says that his body was already smelling.
Yeah.
Like
He's
he was
he's
already
gonna start to
well.
stink by this point.
He was
Okay.
already well into decomposition mode
Decay,
by then. Yeah. So absolutely, there's no. Yeah, that was a very spectacular miracle. From Jesus.
Absolutely. All right. Do we have another quiz question?
All right, our second quiz question for the day. Oh, I love this. This always brings a song to my mind.
Oh, okay.
I won't sing it or you'll know the answer. So the wise man built his house upon the rock, but where did the foolish man build his house? And Lindsay will sing the song for you when we give the answer.
Yes, I will.
That is the correct answer.
I really enjoyed that song as a kid. I don't know if it's the same one you're thinking of, but there's a fun one that I grew up with.
All right,
So,
we'll see.
yeah.
Yes, these guys knew the answer to you guys. 0491 064 669. If the wise man built his house upon the rock, well, where did the foolish man build his house?
Now I want to sing it.
I forgot that.
All right, thank you
I
very
just want
much.
to drive you guys crazy with my.
Yes. Us and 20 million Australians.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, they'll live.
Let me know, guys. Do you like my sounds or do I need to stop doing my sounds? 0491 064 669.
All right.
We call it the Doombats show from now on. Yeah. All right, let's move into back into the story here. So Elijah's saying, look, give it to me first. And God was testing her faith. And he was going to see, hey, do you believe in me? Do you believe that I came to help you? Do you believe, are you going to honor me and my prophets above even your own personal, physical, immediate needs? And to answer that question, that lady, she not only said yes, but she demonstrated that with her actions. She would have every excuse in the world to even say to Elijah, look, sorry, I don't have anything. She could have seen this in two ways. One way she could say, look, we she could find an excuse not to give anything to Elijah and says, look, we barely have food for ourselves. Doesn't the Bible say love yourself first and, before you love your neighbor and all of these kinds of love your neighbor as yourself. So I have to love myself before I have to love you. And so, sorry, Mr. Prophet, I cannot give it to you. So she could have gone that way. I think that a lot of people go that way.
Yep.
A lot of people go that way. Sorry, I first need to help out, my own family and my own household before I, even able to help you. I don't have enough at the end of the month, at the end of the day to help you with anything. We can find excuses not to give, not to help. Or she could go on the other way and says, you know what, I'm as good as that anyway. I might as well at least thank God for everything that He has given me so far. And look what I have to lose,
Yeah.
I was going to die with 50 grams of bread in my belly. Now maybe it would be 25 grams. But, at least I'm going to make, a man of God a little bit happier. And maybe at least I can honor him, respect him, and show my respect, my appreciation to God one last time. And I think that she went out that second pathway. And remember that I mentioned to you that when people asked me before, it says, Skafy, when the Bible tells us to return the tithes to the storehouse of God, right? Yes. Which is the church that you're part of. And then so that the ministry of God can be supported. And then people ask, well, Skafy, do you return your tithe from your net income, like after you pay your taxes to the government? So like it's actually what comes to you, or before you pay the government any taxes?
Tell us.
What do you think? Before I tell my answer, like, have you ever thought about that, Lindsay?
I have come across this question being discussed over the years, and I know some people say, it's only you. Some people say that you only pay tithe on the increase, like what you would make extra from usual. And I'm like, that's a bit weird. And then
wow, okay. That's, never heard about that
No.
one. There you go.
And then I've also heard some people say, after taxes come out, then you tithe. But I personally believe that it is the very first thing that comes off when you've got your income coming in. Before you do anything else, before you pay your taxes, even if tax is automatically deducted, even if you've got other deductions automatic, it's important to know what your the largest number that is meant to come in, and divide that by 10 and send that across straight away.
What about you, Chelsea Belsey? What do you think?
Do you remember our conversation, Joseph?
No.
So sometime last year, somehow Joseph and I ended up in the conversation about tithing. And
did
it was
we?
the first time that I had been introduced to the idea of tithing on the gross amount coming in. And I was like, oh my, okay, I have to think about this like that. It's a bit extra to do.
What's the difference between gross and net? I don't know what these terms mean.
So gross means like, let's say that you receive $100 and you have to pay 20% taxes.
Okay.
So you will receive $80 after taxes. This is net.
Okay.
It's net from taxes.
Okay, so gross
Your
is
gross
the
is
big
like
number.
$100. Yes.
Okay.
But look, in a lot of workplaces, the amount that you're receiving, it's already netted. So when you look at your payslip, you will see 80.
Yeah,
you will see
because-
like 100 less taxes equals to 80.
Yeah.
And the question is, should you tithe on the 80? So you're returning $8 in tithes, or should you return your tithe in the $100 and therefore return $10 in tithe? That was the question.
Yeah, so I looked into it after Joseph told me about this. I felt convicted because I've always been really faithful with my tithes since God opened my eyes. And
by the way, Joseph, so that anybody knows, it's not a new presenter. It's me, it's
Skafy.
Skafy.
Sorry.
Skafy's real name is
my first name is Joseph. Sometimes people call me that.
So, hang on, I'm losing my voice. Okay, so I looked into it in the Bible. I just prayerfully for a few weeks, it's not an easy thing to suddenly go that much more. You're trying to juggle life. And my husband was also like, no, surely not. And so for a few weeks, I was just feeling convicted, but also like, okay, I need to be sure about this. And so, as I studied the Bible and as I looked for it, and I already had some verses in my mind that made me think you were right. And as I looked into what the Israelites did, and they always did it off the first of the crop. God came first, no matter what.
Yeah.
before anything else. And so that was why, through those verses, it's been a while since I did it, but through those verses, I was convinced.
Look, same to me. Historically, my lifestyle, this is from what is coming to me effectively. So I would, ignore, I would take away, I would consider like the $80 that, from our example, like the amount after taxes. But then after I actually was so impressed by this story, I realized, wow, God is asking us to give to him first.
Yeah.
So the first payment is to God. It's not to the government. Because when I'm doing this, what I'm effectively saying is this: okay, I'm receiving my salary. First, I'm paying the king. First, I'm paying the government. Second, I'm paying God. I cannot say that I'm paying God first. I'm paying the government first. But if I receive first and I say no, first is to God, then the government can have their share in what I'm earning, and then like the other things.
So I've just found the verse, which was one of the big ones that came to me. It's Exodus 23:19. The first of the first fruits of your land you shall bring into the house of the Lord your God. You shall not, and then it goes through other stuff. But so the first of
so that is the principle. The principle here, and look, may not be a massive difference because effectively what we're talking, depending on it's on the tax rate of where you are or your country. I think in Australia, most people are like in about 30% or something. We're looking at really a 3% difference.
Yeah.
That being said, it's not so much about the monetary difference, because you can say, what's the difference if I'm returning $8 or $10? Like, it's the difference. The difference is a difference not of quantity so much. It's mostly a difference of quality.
And what are you prioritizing? Yeah,
this is what you're saying. You're saying, look, you know what? It does not matter how much you're going to charge me. My first fruits, I'm giving it to God.
Yeah.
The very best, the first thing, my first priority is going to God. Why? Wow. Because I love him, because I'm acknowledging that he is the one who provides for me, because this is the right thing to do. This is what he told. This is my expression of faith. This is putting my money where my mouth is.
And I guess some people would probably think, oh, this is just an Old Testament thing, right? But even in the New Testament, we see Paul writing to somebody who he was writing to, saying, hey, on the first day of each week, set aside the money that you plan to give. He's saying on the first, as you begin your business week, put stuff aside. Not at the end, not the dregs, not the leftovers, but be intentional with what you have from the start.
Yeah, and look, I do not know where that idea came from. I think it came more from tradition than anything. Because I heard, even before I was a Christian, that, tithing, this is like a Jewish thing, it's an Old Testament thing, and, but then I realized that, no, Jesus actually said that we are supposed to be tithing. People don't realize that. There's a Bible verse where Jesus is actually accusing the Pharisees from hypocrisy. And he says, woe to you Pharisees, because you're hypocrites. You are tithing from the mint, the rue, and the cumin, like from all these tiny little herbs, and yet you don't use that money to serve your parents when they're when they are in need, because you're saying that, hey, this money is sacred to God. So you should do the first without leaving the seconds undone. It's like,
do both.
You're tithing from the mint and the root. Jesus is not condemning that. Says, you should have done this.
Yeah.
But you should not use that as an excuse not to do the other heavier matters of the law.
Yeah. We have a message that's just come through from Astery asking a really good question. She says, do you give tithe when you do tax returns also?
Look, when you give the tax returns, that's a good thing. That's a good question, because what is a tax return? Tax return is like you pay, the government will charge you, or your company will withdraw from your salary that
set amount.
The largest possible amount. But then sometimes you have, but they're not taking into account that you might have had some expenses there that are tax deductible. So the tax deductible is an adjustment to that. So if you're taxing from your gross, you're already giving to God like everything that you're receiving. So this tax is actually, it's not extra money that you're making.
No.
It's the money that you have paid already to the government. The government says, hey, sorry, we overcharge you. Here's your money back. Now, so again, I think technically, if you were tithing from your gross, then no, there's no need.
You wouldn't need to.
That being said, some people, if you believe, if you want to tithe from that, like it's between you and God, that's absolutely fine. But from a technical perspective, no. If you're going the route of, yes, I'm only going to tithe from my net income, then yes, you need to have that adjustment, because you're saying, if I'm first taking away the tax and then I'm thinking about God, then you would need to be coherent. You would need to make that adjustment.
Otherwise, you're keeping more than your fair share, definitely. But definitely, if you're doing tithe from the top of your $100, you're taking that first $10 and you're giving that to God, and then the taxes that are already taken out in your pay slip before you go and do all this, like, it doesn't matter. Like, you're taking from the $100, not from the 80.
In the same way that if you go to the supermarket and then you're buying some groceries, and then all of a sudden the cashier realizes, oh, I'm sorry, I overcharged you for an item that you did not need to pay, so I am giving you a return. Not going to be tithing from the return on your grocery bill. Yeah. He's not considering that grocery bill to be an extra income. In the same way, a tax return, if you are tithing from the gross amount, you don't need to. But if you decide to tithe from the net amount, then yes, of course.
Do you have a giveaway that goes into depth at all about this?
I actually have a giveaway that does go into depth, not about this particular topic, but I have a book here called Help, I Have Been Blessed. It's written by my good friend Julian Archer.
Okay.
And I love the title, Help, I Have Been Blessed, How to Stop God's Blessings from Becoming Curses. The reality is, many among us, we look at our material means and say, wow, God has blessed me with more than I need. How then do I make sure that my heart is not starting to feel enamored with these things? How do I make sure that my heart is not being seduced by the attraction of wealth and riches? And Julian, he struggled with that himself. He actually started a very successful business. His business was sold, and he cashed in a substantial amount of money. And he struggled with that question personally. Like, now that I am wealthy, how do I make sure that my heart stays on track spiritually? So if you would like to learn about that, if you like to hear his story, this is a fantastic book. It's really amazing. And Julian, for those who know, you know that he has a very healthy, very godly approach in relationship to money. And he's definitely one of my go-to persons if I ever want to talk more about that topic. That's definitely him. So if you would like to read his book, text us here, #help to 0491 064 669. Again, the hashtag is help to 0491 064 669. We'll send you the link to that book. But if you have been listening to the radio for not a long time, or if it's your first time that you're texting us, we can send you an actual physical copy of that book. How about that? 0491 064 669, hashtag help.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
Now, Skafy, what are we giving away?
So we're giving away, again, the book Help, I Have Been Blessed, which we were just talking about it before the music kicked in. So this is a book to help us to look into our lives and ask some very important questions to make sure that our wealth, our riches, our material possessions, they are not getting in the way between our relationship with God. So between us and Jesus. Again, if you'd like to receive a copy of that book, 0491 064 669, hashtag help, and we will send a
So you said you have
a
a PDF copy, don't you? Did you say you have a PDF copy? Because I'm not able to give it away.
Okay. We'll yes, we're gonna make sure that we give it away here. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. And we are now going to move on to our next segment, and the next segment is our quiz answer. So please.
Yeah.
I expect a song.
Oh,
off we go,
I'm
Lindsay.
ready.
Go.
Oh, goodness. How's it go again? Don't build your house on a sandy land. Don't build it too near the shore. Well, it might look kind of nice, but you'll have to build it twice, so you have to build your house once more. You gotta build your house upon the rock with a good foundation on a solid spot where the storms may come and go, but the peace of God you will know. I haven't sung that for so many years. That was one of my favorite songs when I was about 11 years old.
I never heard that song before.
I
That's
haven't
very
heard
nice.
it
No?
before. Man, they mustn't have had it in Brazil.
We had a lot
No,
of fun
certainly
in
not.
my Sabbath school class.
Whenever I see, like, you know how the news, like, they've had a lot of erosion in different parts.
That's what you reckon. And then the houses on the
Yeah.
edge are like just about to teter off into the ocean
And that
because
song.
yeah, exactly.
I
Like, don't
just
build your
start
house in the
singing.
sandy land. That's way too close to the shore. What are you doing?
It might be kind of nice.
But you'll have to build it twice.
And you'll have to build a house
once more.
So the answer, if you didn't get it from all of that, is the sand.
Yes.
Do not. The foolish man built his house upon the sand.
Yep.
Yes.
So all those foolish billionaires building on the edge of the ocean.
And then they complain.
Yeah, the thing
Yeah.
about the sand, it's not so much about like building in the actual rock or building in the actual sand. Is that in the soil in that region of Galilee,
Sure.
basically there is the top part of the soil is like sandy,
Yeah.
but if you dig
Down.
deep enough, you ended up
Hit rock.
hitting the rock,
The bedrock.
So basically, it's talking about having shallow foundations versus deep foundations.
And the rock pretty much always refers to Jesus in
Yeah.
the Bible. So if you dig down below the surface and you're really attached to Christ, it doesn't matter what storms come and go in your life. If you are attached and you're anchored to Jesus, your house is not going to fall over.
Exactly right.
Not like physically. You might have your house fall over.
That's exactly
but
right.
your
If you only
life
have a
will not fall over
superficial-
spiritually.
That's right. Like if you have a superficial relationship with Jesus, that's not
You're
going to
get washed away easy.
If the storm, if the crisis is large, it's big enough, then you were not going to be able to withstand it. So Jesus definitely say, look, he's comparing them to people that said, look, this is like the people that listen to my words but they don't do it, versus people that listen to my words and actually do them.
Thanks for being a part of the Faith FM family. Join our community on Facebook or get in touch at 1-800-FAITH-FM.